Okay, so now we're working on adding decimals, what we've been working up towards. So I want you to just have a look at this question up here. It's just whole numbers, but I'm wanting to know what is wrong with this. So just have a quick think, pause the video if you need to, or if it popped in your head right away. We need to, when we're adding or subtracting any numbers, we need to look at the place values. This is the ones place. So the ones place is here. Now, this number on the bottom is the number 12, but where it's sitting, if we're lining up the place value, it's sitting as if this is 100 because we're going to be adding that to the hundreds on the top, obviously, right? So we need to make sure that the place values are lined up. So if we were going to do it properly, this is what it would look like, correct? So the same it goes for when we're adding decimals. So if I was going to add 21 hundredths and 14 hundredths, obviously if I'm adding them as fractions, the decimals or the denominator needs to be the same. Okay. If I am going to be adding it as decimals, this, by the way, so the adding of fractions we will not be doing yet. That's a next year thing that I thought I'd introduce, but we will be adding decimals. Okay, and the easiest way to make sure that your place values are lined up is to line up the decimals. So then we know that the tenths are always here, the hundredths are always here, thousands, and on, and the ones are always here moving forward. So it makes it very easy for me to line up those place values. Okay, again, lining up the place values, so the tenths are here, the hundredths are here, and then I can start on this side and just add normally. So 5 plus 2 is 7, 4 plus 5 is 9. Okay, so it would be 0.97. Same here, the decimals are lined up. The hundredths place is here. I'm going to start there with the smallest number and work my way over. Okay, 7 plus 2 is 9, and then I make sure that I bring that decimal down. It changes the number completely if you don't put the decimal there. It's like me offering you 98 cents, and then I give you $98 instead. There's a big difference. Okay, regrouping. So when we're looking at whole numbers, if I were to do 45 plus 27, okay, we've lined up the place values. This is the ones, okay? And in one column, in the ones column, the maximum number that is allowed to be in one column, there's only one number allowed to be in there. So we go up to 9 only, obviously, right? So 7 plus 5 is going to be 12. So the 2 stays in the one place because 12, the 2 is in the ones place. I take the 10 and I move it over to the tens place. And then I add those. So I go 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Okay, it's the exact same here. We line up the decimals, we line up the place value. Okay, 5 plus 2, or 5 plus 7 is 12. I keep that 2 there because it is this. I'm really saying it's equaling that. So it's like adding decimal 0.5 and decimal 0.7 and then coming up with decimal 1, 2. So you can see that that 1 is actually become into the tenths place. Okay, Mela, erase that, get it out of the way. Okay, so the 1 again comes up here to the top, and then I just add those, keeping the decimal and putting that 0 back. Okay, same thing here. 9, I start at the lowest number. 9 plus 4 is 13, and I take the 1 from the 13, the bigger number, and I move it over into the tenths place, and that would be 8, and that would be 10. Okay, and if I make a 10, that is going to make a whole. So it's like saying I have 10 out of 10. Okay, so that comes over here, and it's 1.03. Okay. If I have numbers that don't have the same amount, you're still lining up the place value. Okay, so looking here, I have 0.7, so the 7's in the tenths place, 0.7. And I have 0.15. So I like to have the number that has more on top. That's just me. Okay, so I'm adding this, and now if this looks weird to you, you don't like it, you want to line them up like this, 0.15 and 0.7, that doesn't work because now I'm adding a tenths place number to a hundredths place number. So if this doesn't look okay to you and you don't like it, add that 0 in, okay? It doesn't change the number at all. So I go 5 plus 0 is 5. 1 plus 7 is 8. Okay, and 0 plus 0 is 0. Now I want you to really consider like why they push you so hard to try to use the grid to line everything up properly. Okay, because you can see now how it could get very confusing very, very quickly. If you do have any questions on this at all, I have lots of different problems for you. Just pop into the Zoom session.